Hello great fellow countrymen, welcome again to Joy Space. My good name is Wambura alias Joseph Blessed, and Joy Space is the platform. You happen here to be the first time, you've never subscribed to this account, kindly consider supporting us by doing so. Make sure that you can like a few videos if you like, but most importantly be a member by simply subscribing. Turn on the notification bell so that you can be the first one to view our video. Now jumping straight away to what is happening right now in Tanzania is that you all understand that, a couple of days by a letter dated on 25th August, of course, we've had the former Vice President of Tanzania, Bwana Emmanuel Nchimbi, having to tender their his resignation to the the current president of Tanzania, Suluhu Samia Hassan, making his decision to resign as effective of August, not August, rather 4th of September this year. Maybe before we can proceed, I would like to give my preliminary welcome to you to this channel. And today, of course, as I had begun earlier, I want us to unravel, or rather, absolute political bombshell that has just dropped in Tanzania. In a staggering of turn of events, Vice President Dr. Emmanuel Nchimbi has officially resigned from his position, closely followed by his sudden, expulsion from the ruling Chama cha Mapinduzi party. Now, just to mention but a few regarding the Chama cha Mapinduzi, guys, for those who do not understand about the Tanzania system of governance, ever since independence, CCM has been at the center stage to run that country. Now, no any other political party has ever gotten a chance to lead, Tanzania as a republic. So, Chama cha Mapinduzi is the first, political party that actually led Tanzania to independence and has since been the leading, political party in that republic. But shockwaves didn't stop at just, Nchimbi resigning and being expelled from CCM. Rather, immediately following an emergency meeting of the CCM Central Committee, Secretary General Dr. Asha Rose Migiro took to the mics at the Lumumba headquarters to announce their definitive, next move. Energy Minister Deogratius Ndejembi, maybe just I can project his one of his photos so that you guys can be able to get to acquainted to who is Deogratius Ndejembi. So this is the guy who has just been appointed as the current, vice president. Yep. So immediately after that, Energy Minister Deogratius Ndejembi has been officially, of course, been nominated as the party's choice for the next vice president of Tanzania. And this has left many nations at a massive turning point of being awaiting President Samia Suluhu Hassan for a formal proposal to the National Assembly for a confirmation. Of course, you all could be asking the processes of getting to appoint, appointing the new vice president as far as the Tanzanian constitution is concerned. I have done my due diligence to make sure that I have been able to gather those steps based on Tanzanian constitution, and also I've gone extra mile to gather the comparison, or rather side-by-side comparison, when it comes to removal or rather resignations, or what happens in terms of appointment upon the sitting deputy president, rather vice president, resigning. What are these steps that are being followed? Now this time I've been able to compare side by side for Uganda, Tanzania, and Kenya. Why I did so, you all understand that you cannot mention Kenya without mentioning Tanzania or rather Uganda. These are sister countries, and that is why I had to do that. Now I am giving you my raw honest reactions to this sudden power shift, what it means for the future of CCM, and how this will reshape the entire political landscape of Tanzania. But before that, I have been able to gather my truth here by just a video by the Secretary General of Tanzania, how it actually happened. Listen to this video.
Halmashauri Kuu ya Chama cha Mapinduzi ilipitisha uamuzi kwamba kutokana na mienendo iliyokiuka kanuni zetu zinazohusu nidhamu na maadili, ndugu Nchimbi afukuzwe uwanachama kwa mujibu wa kanuni zetu. Kwa hiyo tunapenda kuwafahamisha wanachama wote wa Chama cha Mapinduzi na wananchi kwa ujumla kwamba Chama cha Mapinduzi kimefikia uamuzi huo. Kwa hivyo kuanzia hivi sasa ndugu Nchimbi amefukuzwa wanachama na sio mwanachama tena wa Chama cha Mapinduzi. Pokeeni taarifa hiyo. Tumemaliza.
Yeah, sure. So having gotten these pictures of the new appointee for the position of the Vice President of Tanzania, playing these pictures so that you all can be able to get acquainted to the new Vice President appointee, and upon the approval of the Parliament, this is gonna be your next Tanzanian Vice President going forward. But rumors has it that this guy has been one of the most performing a chap in that particular Suluhu's government. So we have no doubt that this guy is going to do his due diligence to make sure that he's pushing the position of the deputy, rather vice president of Tanzania. Now guys, you all understand that you could be asking yourself, maybe perhaps you've never watched my previous video, you could be asking yourself, what is really happening? Why did we have the current, or rather the former Vice President of Tanzania, if I might call him so, why did he just resign? Okay, according to the information online, you realize that Emmanuel Nchimbi has just risen to be one of the guys championing for a new constitution in Tanzania, while the sitting president, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, she's like, no, I don't think there is any problem with the current constitution. Why do you think that we have to get a new constitution? At some point he pushes, saying that first of all we need to make sure that we understand the current constitution before we can actually vote for the new constitution. He gives an example of the religious books, the Quran, the Bible, that you cannot be able to champion for change if you do not understand what it is entailed in the current constitution. So in this particular video, I have been able to gather my facts, the steps necessary for appointing a new vice president upon resignation. And according to the Tanzanian constitution, they say that under chapter 3 part 2 of the constitution of the Republic of Tanzania, that's according to that law of the 1977, the process for replacing a vice president begins under article 52C, which states that the office becomes vacant once a resignation letter is formally tendered to the president. Following this vacancy, article 54 mandates that the president must nominate a successor within 14 days, a step that involves close consultation with the ruling political party to put forward a candidate. So in this particular context, actually I've realized that this particular clause is almost similar to the one for Kenya, and which they have actually followed it to the latter according to the constitution, because Nchimbi just tendered his letter dated on 25th August, and anticipating to resign by 4th of September. But you see, a few days later, I think there were 2 days, and actually one day, and the CCM, that is Chama cha Mapinduzi, was so much quick to bring forth their next appointee, or rather their next vice president. So this nominee, or rather better still, article 54 mandates that the president must nominate a successor within 14 days, a step that involves a close consultation with the ruling political party to the forward candidate, and this nominee is then presented to the National Assembly, when they must secure a confirmation vote of not less than 50% of all members of parliament as dictated by article 54. Finally, upon receiving parliamentary approval, the newly confirmed, candidate is sworn into office by taking the official oath of the allegiance and Article 48(3), legally enabling them to assume the responsibility of the vice president. Once again, I am playing for you this guy, okay, our new appointee. And just for the matter of you guys to get acquainted to the new vice president of Tanzania as time goes by, and as I'm playing this, I am going to bring the or rather step by step, or rather side by side comparison of the appointment of the new of the next, or rather, yeah, sure, of the new vice president, or rather deputy president, as far as Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda. Sorry about that, guys. As far as those three countries are concerned, why I'm doing this is because sip of water a bit. Is because these are sister countries. You cannot mention Tanzania without mentioning Kenya, without mentioning Uganda. These are countries that are more or less the same in terms of economy, in terms of the constitution. Actually, having read, if I go through the steps, or that's the side-by-side comparison of the steps for appointing a new, second in command of the state, you'll be able to see actually only Uganda has a bit of differences, but majority of the factors, they are very much similar from one country to the other. Now, I have come with this comparison, which is actually very much ready, just projecting right away. And maybe just to do it more clear, I'm going to remove my lower third here so that you can be able to read it so clearly all together. Now, step number 1 is nomination authority, 2 is approval body, and then 3 is assumption of office. Now, going to step number 1, according to Tanzania constitution, the president must nominate a successor within 14 days of the vacancy, and so with Kenya. Okay, and so with Kenya, Uganda, the president nominates a successor. There's no strict explicit deadline. So that is the first discrepancy that comes where, as far as Uganda, Kenya, Tanzanian nomination authority is concerned. Now, step number 2 is the approval body. Now, according to the Tanzanian constitution, National Assembly must confirm the nominee by majority vote of not less than 50%. That is the threshold. Now, according to Kenya, National Assembly within Senate input, depending on context, votes to confirm a 60 days, within 60 days, of course. Now, here comes a difference as far as Uganda constitution is concerned. So far we see that there's no really big difference when it comes to Kenya. Regulations, rather constitutions demands, as far as appointment of the new vice president, or rather deputy president, is concerned. However, when you go to Uganda, they say that Parliament must approve nomination by a simple majority vote. There's no specific, a quantification of the votes, or rather percentage, but they're just saying in Uganda, the approval body has just to prove, or rather to approve the same nomination by just a simple majority vote. And then the last bit of the step is assumption of office. In Tanzania, the nominee, or rather the appointee, it should be the nominee or appointee. You guys gonna educate me in the comment section a bit for once. Now, the nominee assumes the office immediately after taking the oath of allegiance. In Kenya, the nominee as well has to assume office, or the new vice president has to assume office immediately after taking the oath of office. You see also this is another similarity when it comes to, Tanzanian and Kenyan constitution. Let's look about what happens in Uganda. Now, in Uganda, the nominee must assume office immediately after taking the oath of allegiance. Oh, more or less the same. There's no really big difference about how one should assume office when it comes to being, officially appointed as the new deputy president. returning my lower third. As we wind up the video, guys, I would like just to request you, if you happen to be here once again to the first time, you can look at my channel. It's still new, it's growing, so be part of this community. We're gonna move all together. This is the whole platform that you're gonna get, you know, one of the most trending stories. There's no any other platforms. I will be updating you matters, you know, politics or any other trending stories. I was your host Wambura alias Joseph Blessed. Join platform, Join space is the platform. I'm gonna call it quits right now, guys. I love you, all of you. Make sure that you watch the video to the end, subscribe, turn on notification bell, give me that like, make that comment. Let's know what you think about today's information from the Tanzanian politics. I have to stop at that point. Goodbye, see you in the next video.